rising. Most importantly, poverty incidence dropped to 15.5% in 2023, lifting 2.4 million Filipinos above the poverty line. And these gains rest on solid macroeconomic fundamentals. After spiking in 2023, headline and food inflation eased, as already reported by BSP Governor, thanks to targeted supply and demand side measures. Fiscal indicators, including our deficit to GDP and our debt to GDP ratios, remain broadly within sustainable levels. We also advanced in innovation governance, as reflected in our improved ranking in the Global Innovation Index. Allow me to put these outcomes into perspective and provide some context. The Philippine economy has experienced robust growth over the past 15 years, with GDP growth averaging between 6 to 7%, with the exception of the sharp contraction that we experienced in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And most recently, GDP growth has averaged about 5.4% in the first half of this year, which is still among the fastest in emerging Asia, demonstrating our economy's resilience and stability despite the uncertainties prevailing in the external environment. Now, despite the setback from the 2020 pandemic, the Philippine economy actually rebounded strongly, nearly doubling in size over the past 15 years, outpacing many of our regional peers. Now, this resilience has translated into steady income gains. Our per capita GNI continues to rise, bringing us closer to crossing the World Bank's upper middle income threshold, and we are poised to reach this milestone within the PDP period and possibly even this year. Our growth story has attracted international attention, strengthening investor confidence. Over the past 3 decades, net FDI inflows have grown significantly. From January to May 2025, net FDI reached $3 billion, mainly from Japan, the United States, Singapore, and South Korea. While this is lower than last year, this moderation reflects global uncertainties and more cautious investor investment. Economic expansion has translated into more and better jobs. Since the first half of 2022, about 4.1 million jobs have been created. Unemployment fell from 6% in 2022 to 4.2% in 2025, while underemployment improved modestly. These figures demonstrate that growth is translating into real opportunities for Filipino workers. Stronger growth and better labor outcomes have delivered meaningful poverty reduction. Poverty incidence fell from 18.1% in 2021 to 15.5% in 2023, exceeding our target and lifting millions of Filipinos above the poverty threshold. Encouragingly, progress is consistent across different norms or standards for poverty assessment, underscoring that we are moving in the right direction. It is equally heartening that the poorest households have recently experienced faster income growth compared to the higher income groups. This has reduced income inequality, as shown in the declining Gini index, signaling that economic growth has become more inclusive and its benefits are reaching more Filipinos. Also, in recent years, we have observed that low and middle income regions have grown faster than the NCR, implying a narrowing of productivity gaps across the country. This has been driven by the rise of more firms and better job opportunities outside the capital. These trends point to a more balanced and inclusive pattern of regional development. Still, sustaining long-term growth requires diversifying beyond consumption and services, which are our primary growth pillar. Agriculture and industry continue to face structural challenges, which we must address to reinforce our economic drivers and generate higher quality jobs. To help address these challenges, infrastructure development remains a cornerstone of our strategy. Public investment averaged 5.8% of GDP between 2022 and 2024. Projects such as the Pangil Bay Bridge and the Plaridel Bypass have been completed, while more than 200 flagship projects are ongoing or in the pipeline. These investments are critical to connectivity, resilience, and inclusion. We have made significant progress in implementing the PDP 2023 to 2028, but at the same time, we also encountered many challenges and roadblocks as the global landscape rapidly shifted and evolved. So this year, we undertook a review of the plan. This initiative, undertaken in coordination with various government agencies, is aimed to assess the current state of the Philippine economy, identify remaining gaps and lessons learned, and chart priorities moving forward for the remainder of the plan period. So over the past years, we have learned several lessons. First, strong macroeconomic fundamentals are indispensable to sustain growth. They enable our economy and our people to withstand various geopolitical, environmental, and technological shocks. Second, responding to these headwinds and skillfully navigating these global megatrends requires strategic, evidence-based, and fragile and agile policy-making actions. Third, robust partnerships across various levels of governance, meaning between national and local governments, between the executive and legislative, and between public and private sectors, between the Philippine government and international partners. These are crucial toward achieving effective and meaningful results. Finally, President Marcos has mentioned in his State of the Nation address that progress is meaningless if ordinary Filipinos do not feel it. So hence, we must prioritize our actions and create impact where people feel it the most. Moving forward, we draw from these lessons, and we are determined to use the remaining years of this administration to fast-track and deliver the transformation agenda with greater urgency. Despite global uncertainties, we have maintained most of our planned targets while recalibrating others, including new indicators. So for 2026 to 2028, we have adjusted our GDP growth targets to between 6 and 7%, even as we stay on course to reach our UMIC status within the planned period. And halfway through 2025 and looking ahead in 2026, multilateral institutions such as the IMF, World Bank, ADB, and UNBRO project that the Philippines will remain among the fastest growing economies in Asia. Fiscal discipline remains central, with debt and deficit to GDP ratios projected to decline further to between 58 and 61% and 4.3% respectively. We target headline and food inflation to stay within the 2 to 4% in order to safeguard price stability. For labor market outcomes, we will sustain gains in employment while focusing on the creation of higher quality jobs. We continue to aim for a single-digit poverty incidence by 2028. We will also continue improving innovation and market governance as critical enablers of productivity-driven growth and long-term economic dynamism. We will use our policy instruments to keep prices low and stable, maintain healthy financial markets, consolidate fiscal gains, and enhance spending efficiency. Meanwhile, we will strengthen our investment ecosystem by deepening trade linkages, boosting the competitiveness of our local industries, and equipping our workforce with the skills to thrive in an AI-driven global economy. We will strategically pursue policies and actions that aim to diversify the sources of economic growth and support the flourishing of our regional growth engines. As the President has mentioned in the SONA, we will continue to prioritize measures that have the most significant impact on Filipinos. And this includes improving equitable access to quality health care, establishing education systems that address learning gaps and the job skills mismatches, and ensuring food security by raising productivity, developing the blue economy, modernizing logistics, and scaling up farm consolidation. With its impact on inclusion and productivity, connectivity remains high on the development agenda. We will sustain high levels of infrastructure investment with over 200 flagship projects across various sectors and in different stages of development and implementation. Alongside this, we are implementing the PPP code to mobilize greater private sector participation in our infrastructure buildup, with more than 250 PPP projects already underway and about 230 projects in the pipeline. A strong policy and regulatory environment reinforces our efforts. Over the past 3 years, we have worked closely with Congress to pass reforms that advance human capital, improve investment climate, reinforce fiscal discipline, and create a predictable and enabling framework for growth. We will continue to collaborate with Congress to prioritize transformative reforms identified in the PDP midterm review. Reforms that will accelerate the realization of our shared development objectives. And in closing, while we have made significant progress, the challenges ahead demand bold reforms and sound policy choices. We must continue to build the capacities of our people, transform our institutions, and future-proof our economy. And with the 20th Congress as our steadfast partner, we have the opportunity to uplift the lives of our people and shape the future that we desire. Together, under Bagong Pilipinas, let us move closer to our shared vision of a matatag, maginhawa, at panatag na buhay for every Filipino. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yusek De Leon. And lastly, the Department of Budget, represented by Secretary Pangandaman.
To the Senate Committee on Finance Chairperson Win Gatchalian, members of the committee and Senate leadership, my fellow economic managers and colleagues in government, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for this opportunity to present the key dimensions and priorities of the fiscal year 2026 National Expenditure Program. The fiscal year 2026 national budget amounts to 6.793 trillion pesos, or equivalent to 22% of the GDP, and 7.4% higher than this year's 6.326 trillion national budget. We receive a total budget proposals amounting to 10.101 trillion pesos, but this substantially exceeded our limited fiscal space. Hence, the Econ team must work hard to bring this value down, practicing stricter fiscal management with our budget deficit targets in mind. The National Expenditure Program remains aligned with the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028. We will continue to pursue our agenda for prosperity, but this time with the underlying theme of nurturing future-ready generations to achieve the full potential of the nation. This theme reflects our commitment to ensure that the budget not only meets our economic targets, but becomes more about truly uplifting the lives of our people, especially the next generations. At the same time, all of our efforts seek to achieve the full potential of our nation, to borrow the President's words at the last ASEAN meeting, and achieve the Bagong Pilipinas we all aspire for. I would like also to highlight that no less than our President sat down with each and every agency, not once but several times, to understand and plan with them how we can make our agenda for prosperity truly felt by the Filipino people. Likewise, our hard-working officials from the executive, together with the departments and agencies of the executive branch, worked hand in hand to ensure the fulfillment of our country's needs and aspirations. Hence, what we present to you is a national expenditure program that is not only strategic and fiscally sound, but most importantly, people-centered. We use several parameters in crafting the National Expenditure Program. First, the alignment to the Philippine Development Plan. Second, shovel readiness, which means that they are back with completed feasibility studies, procurement plans, and other requirements to ensure timely implementation. We also restricted new construction projects to prioritize the completion of those already underway. Third, absorptive capacity, which ensures that agencies can fully utilize their funds. Next is fiscal space. To maintain sustainability